Welcome everyone, this is Ebefar, the Divine Hammer Legendary Alchemist. Today I'm going to be explaining to you about size, height and weight, and why they are different and why they are important. I will also show you a couple tricks, even a few, that everyone can use to lower their fall damage, hitbox, rider weight, no matter what character or build you are, whilst not affecting your stats. Also, a few other ways in which you can optimize your character based on the information you're about to learn. So, size and height are two different things. Size affects your max health, weight, and damage bonus. It is part of your attribute pool and is used in calculations with your attributes. Increasing your size will increase your health, damage bonus, and your weight. Damage bonus is one of the most important stats for a foot fighter in the game, and has a large effect on how much burst and overall damage you can potentially deal. Max health affects the total amount of burst damage you can take before entering the ether world, in other words dying. Max health does not largely affect the total damage you can take, however, due to consumables and healing factors. Look at my consumables guide to see why. Height affects your character hitbox by a ton, as well as your swing reach. Your weight mainly affects your fall damage taken and rider weight. Increasing your size stat will increase weight on a slightly exponential curve. A lower weight will massively reduce the fall damage you take. Your hitbox will affect how easy it is for people to aim at you with spells, as well as with melee attacks and AoE. The greater your hitbox, the more people can hit you at once, which is why large targets are so easy to focus down in group fights. If more people can hit you at once, and more spells are hitting you at once, all the whilst more AoE is hitting you at once, then not only are you taking more overall damage, but you're taking way more burst damage. This is the most likely way that you will die. Watch my consumables video to learn more about that as well. Therefore, a smaller hitbox is almost always more favourable for survivability and reducing the damage and pressure on yourself, therefore also increasing your own pressure and thereby your own damage indirectly. Despite looking like height increases your hitbox linearly, it actually increases it exponentially. This is because your hitbox is actually a volume in the game. Volume is cubic. A cannonball augmere with the dimensions of 80 by 80 by 80 centimeters, so 80 centimeters height, 80 centimeters wide and 80 centimeters deep, has a volume of 512,000 centimeters cubed. But a Thursar who's 200 by 200 by 200 centimeters would be almost 16 times the volume of the augmere, so he takes up almost 16 times the space at 8 million cubic centimeters. And that's only an increase in height of about 2.5 times. So the unspoken benefit of having a smaller hitbox is that people will find it more difficult to maintain focus on you and what you're doing, as your movements and actions are less pronounced and exaggerated alongside the fact that you're smaller. This can be observed in many teamfights and teamfight videos where smaller characters almost feel ignored compared to the point of view of larger characters. There is a funny video on YouTube by Big Chungus who claims he has an invisible potion, where he is basically ignored for the entire video. Smaller characters have always just been more meta in teamfights. This is also easy to see in my most recent PvP videos, where you can see the difference between a max height and min height Thursar in PvP combat. Not only do mages now miss all of their spells on you, but they may even accidentally heal you multiple times throughout the fight, which you can actually observe in my videos. However, swing reach is a very important factor in how easily you can footwork and control your targets. If you have a short reach, you will have less room to control and hit your targets. It is a very important stat, and it is why two-hand weapons are still so favourable among others. If you have a shorter arm reach, you may have to make up for it by using a longer reaching weapon. Arm reach is therefore a large benefit of having increased height, as it can increase the pressure you have on targets, as well as how easily you can control and attack them. It can almost be considered a damage increase on its bare bones. So, onto the tricks. An easy trick you can do to reduce the fall damage you take, and reduce your rider weight among other things, is by making sure you are always at the lowest point in your weight class. For example, as a stout Khaled Thursa, I weigh about 90 kilos, but a fit one can as well. Even though we both have different weight classes, and I still keep the same health and stats as I would have if I was at the max weight of my weight class. Most people I've seen don't actually do this. Most of them go to the max weight of their weight class, which makes them take more fall damage and have increased rider weight. Therefore, they are less effective in PvP because of it. If I was at the max weight of my weight class, like most people do, I would be taking double the fall damage. Another trick you can do is to reduce your character height to the lowest possible point you can, whilst maintaining your size stat that you want. Height is on a scale, and you can get the absolute minimum height of a certain size stat by eating small amounts of height reducing food until you size down, then eat 1 unit to size back to the desired size stat you want. Therefore, putting you at the smallest possible height at the exact same size stat that you want. Having a smaller hitbox like this is very meta. A bonus trick you can do is to get the most out of your size stat by making sure it reaches a threshold of giving you another health point when deciding your character's stats. For example, at size 94 I get an extra health point on my Thursar, but in the size stat below it I don't get an extra health point. So it's more beneficial for me to be at size 94 instead of size 93 or even 92 for example, as both of those have less health. So, in conclusion, increasing your height can be beneficial due to the extra damage and health and swing reach you get. However, just remember that it is a massive trade-off. For more stat points, having the smaller hitbox, which is a massive benefit, and less fall damage and less rider weight. Personally, after switching to a min-sized Thursar, I am basically immortal when fully geared. Min-sized characters have always been the meta for team fighting, so just note this when increasing your height. Thank you all for watching. If you have any questions for me, put them in the comments. Ebefar out.